Okay, I'm recording. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. My Monday afternoon 3 p.m. slot where I get a member under the spotlight on the couch, as it were. Today we have David Booth, the wonderful David Booth. David Booth, I have met just the once in the park. Okay, so I've actually physically met him. I'm not sure we touched, but I did meet you. And again, David, not only David and I share the love of the same football club, a rather unusual football club, a very low division, poorly supported, but David and I are avid AFC Wimbledon fans. But David is also in an industry I understand, because I have been in protection and financial advisor. So again, very much an industry I understand. So welcome, David. Lovely to see you, David.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Good. First of all, I've got your questions, and they're great questions. Most of them are great. A couple of them I won't ask, but they're great. They're really, really good questions. But first of all, David, can I talk to you about networking? So tell me about your networking journey. What does networking mean to you, and what's it done for you?
So I actually started networking probably about February last year. So as you can imagine, I didn't have much real world experience of networking, so almost straight into online networking. Tried lots of different groups and with different success. And so really, I met you with your, the precursor to the Zoco, where it was just a nice group of people and getting to know each other and helping each other with each other's businesses. And what so I've sort of stayed since, and what I've learned obviously from networking is it's just about meeting people, like-minded people who you get on with, who that you feel comfortable with referring to other people, and that's really the key for me. And that's, to be honest, that's why I've stuck with Zoco, because it's a group of people that I like and who I would be happy to refer and introduce to people that I know. So it's been a real great success for me. Well,
really, as I said, I'm delighted to have you on board, and the fact that I found that you're an AFC Wimbledon fan, as far as I'm concerned, you're in there for life. So David is a financial advisor. Is your official title, isn't it? So okay, let's kick off with the great one. How often should I expect or need to see my advisor?
So realistically, you should. I try to see I aim to see my clients once a year. So realistically, you should be seeing your advisor each year, maybe every 2 years, and depending on what your needs are. So if you want to talk to your financial advisor, should be there on the end of the phone, but realistically it should be annually.
Or when your situation changes, basically.
Or when your situation changes. If 3 months after your last meeting, you need to talk to your financial advisor, you should be able to pick up your phone and you should be able to speak to them and have access to them.
Okay, and again, lead me neatly onto, so is it very expensive to have a financial advisor, David?
Sorry?
Is it very expensive to have a financial advisor?
It's completely dependent on what you're doing with your financial advisor, and it's all relative, really. So having a financial advisor is not just for the super rich, the super wealthy. It's for everyone. So realistically, most financial advisors work on sort of a percentage of your wealth, of your income, of your wealth, and depending on what they do for you. So it's really not an expensive professional to have on your books.
But I mean, presumably, first of all, advice is always free of charge. I mean, if I want to talk to you about protection insurance or whatever, it's presumably the first chat is always free of charge, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. There's different ways that people work. I mean, for myself and a lot of people in the industry, first conversations and meetings aren't actually what you got billed for. Whereas there are some financial advisors who will bill you per hour, per meeting, but that's not the norm.
Okay. Do financial advisors just deal with pensions? Tell me about the things you deal with, David, please.
So no, good financial advisor should be able to be taking into account all of your financial circumstances. So should be looking at your income, your expenditure, should be looking at any investments that you have, looking at your mortgage, looking at if you've got young children, money that you're saving for your children. Protection is really the bedrock for everything as well. It's because one of the things that we make sure that we do is ask those horrible, uncomfortable questions that you don't want to ask yourself, that you don't want to pull your head out of the sand and answer.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly an aspect that I found difficult talking about life insurance, because as I said, you have to ask those difficult questions, because unfortunately, ultimately, we are all going to die. We all have that in common, and none of us know when we're going to die. And so it's that, it's providing that security of people you left behind.
Yeah, absolutely. It's asking those questions about what would happen if to your family, if you were to die tomorrow, what would happen if next week you got a very serious illness and you couldn't work. How are you going to pay for your retirement? Lots of people think, well, they want to have a lovely retirement where they're going to get all this income, but they don't want to pay for it themselves, which unfortunately you have to do.
Yeah. See, I mean, you mentioned protection insurance. Just quickly run through the different types of protection insurance that you offer.
So life insurance, so obviously can be for a period of time to cover a specific, something specific like your mortgage. It could be whole of life insurance that will pay out definitely whenever you die. Can be income protection, so replacing your income if you're too ill or injured to work. And then there's critical illness cover. So for example, if you've got a serious illness, like you had a heart attack, if you got cancer, if you were to go blind, then they'd pay out a lump sum to cover your mortgage or a couple of years' wages or whatever you would choose to cover.
And let's not forget health insurance, young man.
Sorry, yes, health insurance. So, yeah, private medical insurance. So again, it's all about being able to get access to doctors as quickly as possible, rather than having to wait in line for the NHS. Now, another thing I didn't mention earlier as well, inheritance tax planning as well is quite a big, because especially these days, in the areas we live, is with large house prices, if people's assets go over $1 million, well, then you're going to be paying 40% inheritance tax to the government. So it's trying to go away, do things legally and responsibly to pay as little as tax as possible for you and future generations.
Of course, and we touch upon health insurance here, and most people know that I'm a big Vitality lover, and think so that there's insurance that has benefits, and can help you with free coffees and cinema tickets, and get connected with your health at the same time. And you sell Vitality, don't you, across the board?
I do, yes. Yeah, we use Vitality, which a lot of people really are positive about, because they like the fact that if they are keeping healthy, that their premium's going to stay down. They like to get the rewards for, so free coffees, a half price, watches, Apple watches, etc. And actually, with lots of pension providers as well as Vitality, is they offer things like second opinion from GPs. So actually, if you go to the doctor and they've given you an opinion, there's a phone line you can call. They give you physiotherapy to get you back to work for income protection, for example. So there's lots of actual additional benefits with it as well.
Excellent. Okay. We touched upon pension briefly. So, okay, first question. I know the answer to this. Anyway, when can I access my pension, David?
Okay, so currently you can access your pension at 55. So you can get your hands on it at 55. Obviously, the earlier you start taking your pension, the less you're going to have later in life, because you're not going to be it's not going to be saving and increasing over time. That may go up to 57, because obviously the state pension age is going up to 67 and then 68. You can get your hands on it earlier, but there are huge tax disadvantages, because obviously the whole point of the government giving you tax relief on your pension is so that you've got some money in retirement, so the government doesn't have to look after everyone in old age.
Okay, I mean, I'm not quite sure I'm making you laugh, Dave, but you'd be glad to know it's only you and me on my screen. Okay, that's all that's been recorded. So if anyone's deliberately trying to put you off, okay, just try and ignore them. It's just me and you on the screen, okay. I mean, I know that, as I said, so I mean, pensions are an interesting one because, I mean, the way we work has changed and evolved over the years, and so now lots of us have different pensions from lots of different places. So you're a great person to talk to, and hopefully you can get all those pensions in one pot, can't you?
Yes, that's quite common. Something quite common that I deal with actually is that people who have had various different jobs throughout their life have got pensions here, there, and everywhere. That quite frankly, they don't know how much is in each pension fund. They don't know how the fund's performing. And more importantly, they don't know what that means for their retirement.
Mm-hmm.
So by consolidating that into one pension, then what I will do is not just throw out one pension and say, oh, here we go, is what I'll do is sit down and say, well, actually, what this means is that at the retirement age that you want, you would currently be on track to be able to have X amount of income per year, which really helps people to plan for the future and say, well, actually, I want to put more into my retirement fund, or actually I can retire earlier, or I might have to retire a bit later. So yeah, that's definitely a great service that I can provide for people.
And can you help people find pensions? Is that a service you offer as well? For some people, presumably, say, I'm sure I had a pension at so and so, I don't know where it is.
Yeah, I can help and point them in the right direction of finding their pensions, because this is something that I keep saying to people, is it's your money.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a savings account with £30,000 in, well, you track it down, wouldn't you? You wouldn't just say, oh, well, I'll leave that there.
Mm-hmm.
If it's your money, so you should really go out of your way to try and find it, track it down, and then so you've got access to it in retirement, because there are huge amounts of money that people don't get at retirement that are just lost pension funds.
Yeah, and you mentioned pension, so I'm aware that. So explain what you're allowed to do at 55 currently with your pension.
So currently, it depends what type of pension you have. So if you've got a final salary, or it's called, if you've got a final salary or average salary scheme, well, then you can take 25% of that tax-free, and then you can get a certain amount per year. So it might be that you're offered 7,000 per year.
Mm-hmm.
But if your retirement age was 60 or 65, obviously that amount that you'd get per year would be reduced if you take it early.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've got what's called a defined contribution scheme, which is like a savings fund. So for example, if you had £250,000 in your pension pot, well, actually there's different ways of taking it. So you can take the 25% cash tax-free, could take more, but you're paying tax on top of it. You could take it in like slices where you're paying 25% on each time you're taking it. You can buy an annuity, which and the reasons, and this is one of a really important reason about having a financial advisor as well, is there are so many different ways to take it, that to get the right advice, so you're doing it in the most tax efficient way possible for yourself, is really important, because you could really be actually paying out a lot more tax on the pension that you're taking, just because you're not aware of the best way of taking it.
Okay, so a few more questions. But if you've got any questions, guys, so be prepared. I should be opening the floor in a minute for any questions. Lovely. Let's start with this one. Okay, if I die, what would happen to my pension?
Okay, again, there's a couple of different answers for this. So again, in the final salary type scheme, or if you buy an annuity, it depends on which one you take out. So actually, it could be that the type of scheme you've got, you're going to get 50% back. Will go to your spouse after death. However, on the more common type of pension schemes nowadays, which are like your savings funds, where you've, again, £250,000. If you die, well, all of that will go to your beneficiaries, which actually a lot of people don't realise. Again, the amount of times I've had people say, "Oh, I thought it all just disappeared," which no, the good news is that actually, yeah, if you've got a defined contribution scheme, so this is again why it's important to find out which type of pension scheme you have. But actually, all of that will go to your nominated beneficiaries, whatever's left. and that and also it's really important to have a look at who your beneficiaries are, that you have got the right nominated beneficiaries on your pension scheme.
Okay, so a couple of questions. Is it safer to keep money in the bank?
It depends what you mean by safer. So in terms of, is your money still going to be the same if you've put £50,000 in? Will you be able to get £50,000 out? Well, actually, yeah, it's really safe. And if you want that money for the near future, for a year, 2 years time, keeping it in the bank is a good idea. However, if you want that money for a long period of time, so that money's going to be in there for 5-10 years, well, actually, the risk you're taking is that it's being eroded by inflation every year. So actually, in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, your £50,000 isn't going to be. You're not going to be able to buy £50,000 worth of goods anymore. So actually, you're putting it at risk by keeping it in that savings account. So it depends what your aims are.
Exactly, and that is the beauty of having a financial advisor. When you sit down with a financial advisor, they talk to you and understand your attitude towards risk, and they'll know exactly whether you're a gambler or not, and whether you want possible high rewards or you're a steady, safe saver. So that's important.
Absolutely, and that's what's really important, is that actually a financial advisor, financial planner, is that you are planning, you're sitting down and you're finding out what's important for that person, what their goals are, what that money is for, because you can't make decisions before you know all of that, because at the end of the day, money is always for something. Of course.
I like this question, Dave. So should I invest in cryptocurrency? We talked about it briefly. You tried to explain it to me. But anyway, so should I invest in cryptocurrency?
Yeah, I'm getting asked this all the time at the moment, obviously, because it's constantly in the news. And I think the best line I've heard to really explain cryptocurrency is it's for your beer money, not your pension money. So it's really, if you've got a bit of money that you want to gamble, you're happy to lose, then it can go into cryptocurrency. A really good example is that in the last week, it's lost, Bitcoin in particular has lost a quarter of its value. So it's really volatile. I don't know enough about it to advise on it, but it really is a lot about speculation about whether people want to have that cryptocurrency or not. A couple of things as well is just to be really careful with cryptocurrency, because there are lots of scams out there with people, a lot of pyramid schemes with cryptocurrency. And also, quite simply, if you lose your password for your cryptocurrency, you lose your cryptocurrency. It's gone. There's no one to go and ask for, saying, "Oh, I've lost my password." Once it's gone, it's gone.
Oh wow! And you work under the umbrella St James's Place, which a lot of us have heard of and know about. And so when it comes to money, I mean, there's everything. I mean, the organisation, everything, mortgages. There's nothing to do with money that isn't covered by your company. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the great reasons I like working for St James's Place, that actually I am the individual. I work with my clients. I'm the person that they see at all times. But I have got a huge FTSE 100 company supporting me. So if there's anything that I need, if there's any area of financial world that I need support with, there are people within St James's Place with the expertise and the knowledge to support me. So it's really, I see it as the best of both worlds.
And is there a favourite aspect of the business that you personally prefer dealing with? Is there a particular aspect you love doing?
Yeah, I mean, I like long-term planning. I like retirement planning. So it's because that way I got into this job because I want to build relationships with people. I want to be there along the journey with them. So it's about getting to know them and their family, what's important to them, and then sticking with them along that journey to see the fruits of their hard work.
Well, I've enjoyed working with you, David, and thankfully you're a lot younger than me, so you'll be with me the whole of my journey, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's throw the floor open. Does anybody have any questions? No, Gareth, unmute yourself and ask the question, please, Gareth.
It's not so much a question. Uh, you're not going to like me. I couldn't disagree with you more about crypto. There are different cryptos, some which are volatile and some which not. For instance, and this is just an example, DAI moves 1% either side. It's designed to do so, and yet you get a staking bonus just for holding it. So it's literally in dollars. And I just paid the deposit on this house, which I bought from crypto. And that was from a very, very sane, sensible, easy investment I made a year ago. And I just literally cashed 80% of it in.
Nice.
So I think if you're careful and you're clever with it, and Bitcoin hasn't lost a third, it's lost 3%. So
it's gone down from £44,000 to £32,000.
38,000, and if I remind you that last year it was at 6,000. So
yeah, that's right, but that's what I'm saying. It's extremely volatile, isn't it? It's gone down from 44,000 to 32,000.
But it's certainly not beer money unless you're wanting to buy beer for the entire Euphrates Stadium.
Okay, Alison put her hand up. Well, Alison, you have a question all the way from South Africa. Alison, what is your question? Oh, you're muted. Oh, he says. Oh.
Mute.
No, that's better. I can hear you now. Oh no.
Can you hear me?
Yes, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks, David. Thanks, Nick. So, David, I've got a question. I've got some friends who are relocating from South Africa to the UK, and he obviously needs to get his money out of South Africa and into the UK, including his pension, which he has to wait 3 years for. But could you help him with something like that? St. James's Place, or
yeah, we could sit down and have a conversation and see where we could help. And as you say, with different timescales on different on different solutions. So I know pensions are very tricky when it comes to moving pensions between different countries, but it's something that definitely we could sit down and have a conversation about. And that's where that comes back to what I was saying about it's great to have St. James's Place to have these different experts in different departments. So I know there'll be someone somewhere within St. James's Place with who'll be an expert in South Africa and pensions, etc.
Great. I'll give him your details. And when I lived in the UK, my pension and everything was with St. James's Place, so I do know them well. Thanks, David.
Is St. James, is it just a UK company, or is it worldwide? I'm not sure.
It's UK.
It's just UK.
Actually, you know, there's a base also in Asia as well.
Okay. So. Cool. Any other questions? Any other financial questions, folks? Out there? No other fun. You're fully clued up on your pensions and more. So James, and you do mortgages as well, yes? Equity release, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we do equity release and mortgages too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, equity release is so. I mean, for the older household. I mean, there's trillions and trillions tied up in property. I mean, my mum's got a lovely house. You know, she asset rich and cash poor. And so how easy is equity release these days?
It's one of those things. It's as you say, lots of people have got a lot of money tied up in their home, and it's something to be really careful about because it's absolutely the right decision for some people, but it can be a decision of last resort really, because it can eat away at inheritance for the younger generation. But it's something to go in definitely with your eyes open and sit down with the right person who's going to really make sure it's right for you. It's not something to jump into, but it can be absolutely the right choice for some people.
Yeah. So tell me about any nightmare type clients without any names. What is your who or what is your nightmare client? Come on.
I think a nightmare client is someone who just doesn't really want to engage in the process. Who I'm here to support people and to help them with their family and with their own money, and I'm certainly willing to be challenged on things that I say with people. But at the same time, if there are people who really actually don't want the help and want to do everything themselves, that's sort of a nightmare client, really, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it is. There's admin, there's questions, there's stuff to go through. There's There's suitability, there's all kind of compliance to to go through, and people forget about the compliance, don't they?
Oh yeah, there's a huge amount of compliance, and so any advice that I give, I have to run it through my compliance department, who check that I've dotted the I's and crossed all the T's, and that what I have advised someone is absolutely right for them, and which actually, to the extent that they're St James's Place offer a guarantee that any advice that any advisors give, it will be guaranteed by St James's Place.
Well, I would recommend anybody that has any financial questions about any aspect to do with money to have a chat with David, because the first chat is always free. Isn't that right, David?
That's right. I'm always happy to have a chat about and have a conversation about finances. And
can you, but before I wrap it up, can you think of the strangest question you've ever been asked about money? You didn't know I was going to ask that question. Come on, you must have been asked a strange question about money, surely.
I don't think the strangest ones are when it's people who just think they're going to retire and have you saved any money? No. But I'm going to be fine when I'm retired. It's that sort of thing where you just can't convince people that actually you're going to have to look after yourself. It's that whole, no, everything's going to be okay.
And what's your answer to people to say, I've got a state pension, I'll be okay? What's your answer to that?
As long as you're happy at living on around £9,000 a year, as if you've paid in your national insurance contributions for 35 years.
Yeah. I can't believe I haven't quite paid in enough. I can't believe it. Well, 36 years, I still haven't quite paid enough. Unbelievable, I tell you. Alex, were you saying something?
I've overpaid, apparently.
Overpaid? You might have paid my bit. Louise, did you have a question, Louise?
Yeah, no, I was just going to comment on the same thing. I happened to be looking up this last weekend whether I paid enough contributions, and I was quite surprised to find I'd over. Yeah. I can't add to mine any more than I've already done 37 years or something. But it was the horror at thinking when I did look it up that I've got to work until 2035 before I'll be able to get my state pension, and that in 2021 that sounds like a lifetime away to get my 170 pounds a week or whatever it is.
Well, I'm horrified you're so young. So absolutely. So you bully for you.
I don't know how I can be if I've managed to accrue 7 years worth of. I don't know. I feel like 120.
You've just worked harder, Louise.
Yeah, I've not paid enough. So there's another story there. But anyway, no. So
we'll sell you some.
Well, yeah, very kind of you. Thank you. Okay. Again, there is, in case you don't know, there is a great tool which I've used. You can check exactly online how much your state pension will be per week. Okay. And David did put the link in the Facebook group. It's a really, really useful tool. So, well, I'm going to any last word, Dave, before I stop the recording.
Yes, yeah. Thank you for doing this with me today, Nick. Thank you for everyone who's turned up and anyone who decides to watch afterwards. And yeah, I'm really pleased I joined Zoco, and I shall be here for the foreseeable future.
Good to hear, right?